This is going to be one interesting topic of discussion for today's video. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining us on another edition of the Steelers Culture Podcast, where we break down Pittsburgh Steelers football. And this episode is powered by our great friends over at BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, as we are here to talk about Art Rooney II. He finally came out with his end-of-season presser on how he felt about the end of the regular season for the Pittsburgh Steelers and how he feels moving forward about Mike Tomlin, the coaching staff, the quarterback situation. And exactly what did he say? A whole lot of nothing.
A whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of exactly what we were expecting. But the fact that it came from his mouth and his words and his breath gives us every single indication of why we shouldn't expect any greater success for the Steelers in the near future. Nothing's going to change. We're going to run it back with the exact same core of people, with the exact same coaching staff, with very little to minimal change, if that, for next season. Pretty much he said, nothing's changing. We're going to re-sign Russell Fields, and here we go, Steelers. Mike Tomlin is the best coach we have. We think he's a good leader. We still trust him. They know what they got to do. That's all he said. He pretty much just expanded on what Mike Tomlin said in his end-of-season presser.
He doubled down. He doubled down on what Tomlin said, and he doubled down on how he feels on what he believes the Steelers' success could be down the road. Mediocrity, here we come.
A whole lot of nothing, pretty much. But we're going to discuss his quotes, what he said regarding the coaching staff, Mike Tomlin, the receiver position, a whole bunch of everything he mentioned in his presser. We're going to discuss all that from Mr. Art the Clown, is what we like to call him around here. So we're going to discuss all that, but we want to thank you guys for joining us. Let us know how you guys feel about the future of this team and the ownership of Art Rooney II in the comments. Let us know. And I want to thank the sponsor of today's video. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring this video. Since we're on the discussion of Art Rooney II, he mentioned the future of the quarterback position and kind of what he wants to do for the future. BetUS already has lines up for who could be the starting quarterback for Game 1 of the 2025-2026 regular season. Who could be the Week 1 starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers? BetUS has a lot of options here, and front runner is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm good.
Aaron Rodgers is here as well.
I'll double down on that. No, thank you.
Justin Fields.
Yes, sir.
Plus 150. I like those odds. Russell Wilson is negative 150. Go to Oakland. Or it's Las Vegas.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, whatever.
Go back to Pete.
Quinn Ewers. No, thank you. Jalen Milroe, who's getting a lot of stock towards the Steelers around this time of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he is ending up as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Him and his small hands and his inconsistencies and how much of a project he is just speaks Steeler, doesn't it? AKA Kenny Pickett. Just a lot more athletic. Kirk Cousins, no thank you. Daniel Jones, absolutely not. Carson Beck, no. Derek Carr, no. JJ McCarthy, hey, if those think that JJ McCarthy could be on the move, feel free to put a slip here.
Hey, Roman Wilson's here.
That's a good point. I mean, there's so many great, not great options, but there's so many great odds for some of these options here. The front runner is obviously Justin Fields. If you guys want to place a wager, feel free to do so. The odds are plus 150. I mean, you put 100 down. You win up to $150. So you want to place that and tell it at betus.com. Feel free to do so. When signing up, check out their 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit, up to $2,000, and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up today. And BetUS also has a casino. So if you guys are into slots or live casino dealers, BetUS has a special offer for you when you sign up as well. Not only using that sign-up bonus for those bonuses there, you can get a casino bonus, a 200% sign-up casino bonus up to $5,000 and 250% crypto sign-up bonus to $5,000 as well. So claim all these bonuses and get going with all the casino buzz and all of the line buzz right here, as well as Steelers futures all offseason, NFL futures all offseason, and of course the Super Bowl coming up. BetUS has all that for you if you guys are looking for a new sports book. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring with us on this video. Just please gamble responsibly. Now, let's talk about Art the Clown.
Good old Art Rooney II, the Steelers owner. He did have his end-of-season presser on Monday with Steelers media, as well as Rob King, on how he felt about the Pittsburgh Steelers with their end of season collapse and what he believes and feels about Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff and just the whole shebang about the Pittsburgh Steelers. So getting right into it, this is basically a collaboration of how he felt about the Steelers and whatnot with the media and with Rob King. So he started off saying that the end of the season was tough to swallow and left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. He said, after losing 5 in a row, it is hard to say that we are closer.
No shit. You don't say,
Yeah,
Mr. Rooney.
I mean, losing those 3 straight in 11 days against legitimate Super Bowl competition, yeah, obviously.
And he did note that he wasn't sugarcoating anything. It's like those guys had similar schedules as well in similar days. We lost all of them. Some of those teams won all of them. So he didn't sugarcoat that. He didn't use that as an excuse. That was the schedule the Steelers were dealt with, and they failed to beat good teams. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So he didn't really sugarcoat a lot of that. But in regards to the coaching staff, this is what everyone was really harboring on and what he was going to say. They were paying close attention what he was going to say in regards to Tomlin and the coaching staff, and it's, again, a whole lot of nothing. He pretty much began saying that the coaching staff wasn't good enough and wasn't what they expected. He said he's open to changes on the coaching staff, but as far as increasing the size of the staff, which is the Steelers have the smallest coaching staff in the entire league. I believe the Steelers only have 19 on-field coaches, and that's not including strength and conditioning coaches.
No, they have a total of 23 coaches. But if you exclude the strength and conditioning coaches, they only have 19 on-field coaches. So, yeah, that's the fewest in the NFL as far as I'm concerned.
So, in regards to increasing the number of bodies in the coaching staff and bringing in more minds and some new faces and some new ideas on both sides of the ball, he said, I can't believe he said this. He said, I don't see that holding us back. I don't think that's our problem. Really?
Yeah, Art, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that quote. I think that is a problem. I think that's a serious problem.
He says adding anyone isn't on the table. So what he pretty much said is any hope that we had that they might bring in somebody or bring in extra people, it's not going to happen. We shouldn't expect it.
Now, he did also note that, according to him, the Steelers coaching staff is at 27 people. Now, I said that they have 23 if you count the strength and conditioning coaches, but where's he getting the other 4? Who's the other 4?
I don't know.
As far as I'm concerned, nobody has been labeled as an extra coach for the Steelers. They're missing quite a people, but according to Art Rooney, they have 27, not on my count. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. But even then, if they do have 27, they can still add a couple people. They can still add a couple extra coaches at that for both offense and defense, even special teams at that.
Well, considering that they have no senior defensive assistant, they don't really have many assistant coaches on the team. They just have guys to fill in certain position roles and position coaches and coordinator spots. That's all they have. They don't have any extra bodies in there.
No, their coaching staff, what they have right now, who they have labeled, is the most basic that you could have in the NFL. They don't have any extra. They don't have an assistant head coach. They haven't had one since John Mitchell retired 2 years ago. It's been nothing but Mike Tomlin.
They have no
as the
running.
head coach.
They have no running game coordinator. They have no passing game coordinator. They have no senior defensive assistant since Brian Flores went to the Vikings. They have no extra bodies in there. So in a coaching staff that is very small and needs faces and needs new fresh ideas, he's not open to adding extra people or bringing in extra people to fill extra roles.
Yeah.
How does he not think that that's not a good idea or that's a positive?
Now, I do want to throw this out there. I don't want to add coaches for the sake of adding coaches, right? I'm all about quality over quantity. You want to have the quality of coaches on your staff that are going to do the job to the best of their ability. The problem is the Steelers, for the majority of the time, or for the most part, they don't have that.
The quality isn't there.
No, it's not.
So in that case, if you're not going to make changes, which none of us were expecting, but the fact that it came from his mouth, if you're not making any changes, why aren't you bringing in people? That makes no sense.
And don't just bring in people for the sake of filling in the role. You know what I'm saying? No, bring quality coaches in to fulfill those positions.
Yeah, bring in guys that are classified to fill those spots. Why don't we have a senior defensive assistant to bring in an extra piece? When Brian Flores was here, he was the senior defensive assistant / linebacker coach. Why can't we get another one of them? We don't have a passing game coordinator. Why don't we have one of them? We don't have a running game coordinator. Why don't we have one of them?
Considering the Steelers are all about running the football, why is a running game coordinator not a part of this team?
If you look at it from our secondary, Grady Brown,
He's been the secondary coach for how many years now?
He's a good coach. He's a good coach. He just got interviewed for the Bears. DC spot. He didn't get it. But you look at it, he's the secondary coach, which means he teaches safeties and corners. Wouldn't it be better to get a certain coach to fill each individual spot, a cornerback coach and a safeties coach?
So you have two individuals filling one position each so that they can work on their respective players and positions. Instead, you have one guy who's a fine coach. I'm not taking anything away from Grady Brown, but you have them work on both positions when you could kind of, if anything, make him a senior defensive assistant at that, since he's been here a little bit.
You could do that. You could promote,
and then bring
absolutely.
2 people in to fulfill cornerback coach and safeties coach.
Absolutely.
But they're doing the bare minimum. They're being lazy about it.
They're being cheap is what they're doing. They don't go out and get proper coordinators. They would rather just go and get the cheapest options or make in-house promotions like they've been doing for how many years now. And all they're going to do, if there's going to do any coaching changes, all they're going to do is whoever's coach's contracts expire, such as like a Carl Dunbar coming up, if they let him walk mistakenly, which I would not, he's been one of the few good defensive coaches, position coaches.
That's the one guy you don't let walk.
No.
There's no reason to let Carl Dunbar's contract expire and let him walk, but you keep Pat Meyer.
Look what he did for Montravius Adams. Look what he did for Benton.
Look what he's done to Cam Hayward. Let's be real. Listen, Hayward was great beforehand, but since Dunbar's been here, Cam Hayward played the best football he's ever had.
He sure has. So you're telling me in a draft class that is so stacked and in a position that you know you're going to go early at, maybe even double dip in free agency in the draft, you're going to let him walk and replace him?
Yeah, and that's the thing.
But that's the thing. That's all that they're going to do is they're just going to replace guys that are leaving the building rather than adding people. They're being very, very cheap.
Yeah, and they're being very lazy about it. And that's what I mostly expect is people to potentially walk if their contracts are done or if they actually relieve somebody of their duties, they're just going to bring somebody in. But they got to bring the quality of coaches if they're going to do that. But why stop there?
Because he trusts Mike Tomlin and his staff too much. Because this is exactly what he had to say about Tomlin. While he believes adding to the coaching staff isn't necessary, he also believes that most of the staff will remain.
Great.
He says, and I quote, Mike certainly knows that he's evaluating his staff and will continue to do so. But the coaching staff, I think most of it will stay in place. Our coordinators, I think, will stay in place. I look forward to having Arthur Smith for a second year and having him have more of an opportunity to kind of really put his system in place. So there's work to be done. And for the most part, I think we have the right people and the right jobs to do it. I disagree. I disagree strongly. But that's our owner for you.
I don't know how you watch the end of the season collapse, losing 5 straight games and losing in blowout fashion in the playoffs once again, and you don't make change to the coaching staff. They have yet to do so as of this recording.
No, and they're not going to. He has outwardly admitted, and it was an expectation from all of us Steelers fans, but he pretty much just confirmed it.
He doubled down on it.
And in regards to Mike Tomlin specifically, he said that he trusts Tomlin to evaluate his staff. He trusts the entire staff. But Mike Tomlin specifically, he says he still believes that Tomlin is the right man to lead the Steelers. He says, and I quote, when you look at how many games Mike has won in this league, you don't win that many games if you aren't a good coach. I know he is frustrated like we all are in terms of taking that next step, but we still feel good about him being our leader and still think he has the strengths that he always had to be able to lead a team. When you have a good coach, you just try to keep building with him. Keep trying to build with him. It's been 18 years.
What? Build what exactly, Mr. Rooney?
And he says, when you look at how many games Mike has won in the league, you don't win that many games if you aren't a good coach. Now, are you talking specifically regular season games or are you talking playoff games? I know exactly what you're talking about, but if you want to accentuate on the word games, I'm thinking playoff games because the amount of playoff games that Tomlin has won since our last Super Bowl appearance is 3. So
yeah, so someone needs to show Art Rooney the sheet.
So when you look at how many games Mike has won in this league, you don't win that many games if you aren't a good coach. How about you look at the playoffs, Mr. Rooney? How about you look at the playoff games the last 6 fucking times? I don't understand that. And that just goes to show, and that confirms everything, that he is just complacent. He is okay with where the Steelers are at, which is just above 500, which is remaining in the playoff hunt, which is making the playoffs and going one and done every single season because they're not at the bottom of the league. They're not in awful territory. They're not within the top 5 picks. And because they're always in the playoff picture and because the Steelers are always above 500 and Tomlin hasn't had a losing season ever before, it keeps things interesting for Steelers fans. It keeps the fans coming. It keeps the money coming for Art Rooney. But here's the thing, man. I think a lot of Steelers fans, the majority of Steelers fans, aren't buying the hype no more.
No.
That's what he doesn't understand.
No.
This just goes to show he is complacent with where we're at.
He's out of touch. He's out of his mind.
He is 100% delusional, and him and Tomlin both are actively killing this football team. They are killing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they don't even realize it because they are satisfied with being just okay.
Because it works. It works enough for them.
Because it's good enough. Because they're not awful. They are just good enough. But they're not great. They're not contenders. They're not competing. They can't beat the good teams. They can't compete against the elites. And they're just okay with that because they're not losing so many games.
They have not been able to be legitimate teams for how many years?
No. The playoffs are a massive exple of that.
Every time we played the Kansas City Chiefs, we've gotten blown out.
This just goes to show they don't take anything seriously.
Look what happened against Philadelphia. Look what happened against the Ravens. The past 2 games. The fucking Ravens, a team that the Steelers play competitively every time. They weren't able to play competitively the past 2 games.
No.
At all. In that playoff game, they weren't even trying, man. They just looked like they just want to get out of there. Let's just get it over with.
Of course.
But Rooney is just complacent with that because Tomlin has gotten him that far. And Tomlin appears to be complacent with that.
I think Rooney doesn't understand. I don't think Rooney is prepared. I don't think he can handle a bad season for the Steelers. I think he's 100% scared to make change because he's just satisfied with where they're at. He is afraid of life after Tomlin because he doesn't want to even risk the chance of them being so bad. But sometimes, you know what? The Steelers might be due for it. Let's be honest. They might be due. But I don't think Mr. Rooney II can handle that. And here's the thing. In that interview, Rob King, he mentioned radio shows and Steelers fans all around the world discussing their frustration with Mike Tomlin and the coaching staff. And Art Rooney II acknowledged it. He said his inbox was full. He understands. He's frustrated as well. He is with the Steelers fans, except not 100% completely. Otherwise, we would have seen change. So he understands that his fans are frustrated. He understands where we're coming from.
He acknowledged it. He acknowledged the fan base. But is he doing anything about it? Has he done anything about it? Will he do anything about it?
I think that makes me feel that maybe not now, maybe not next year, but maybe at some point, if we keep going down the same pipeline, he might feel pressured and might have to make change. Because he already did it with Canada. He felt immense pressure when he had to fire Canada because outrage was universal. Everyone universally agreed this guy had to go, and they were pressured to do something they never did in a long time. So now that Art Rooney is acknowledging the frustration of Steelers fans with Tomlin and the coaching staff, he's not doing anything about it, but maybe he might. Maybe he might if this gets too bad. If this goes too far, which it already has. It's gone far enough.
Even then, I'm not holding my breath.
I'm not either. But what I'm saying is he's actually acknowledging. He's listening, but not exactly listening. Like he understands, but he's not doing anything about it. That's what frustrates us. Like he hears us, but he's not doing anything.
No, and I don't know how you don't do anything after you just gave your head coach a 3-year extension that ties him to 2027, and he comes out with a season like this, and at the end of the season, it ends in disappointing fashion, and you're not livid. You're not pissed off.
No. He thinks, hey, let's just run it back.
Literally.
We had the worst collapse in team history, and he just wants to run it back with everybody.
If I'm Art Rooney, I am fucking livid that that's how the season ended.
Yes.
This is the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about.
We were 10-3.
We do not do this. The Steelers have never done this. We have not have a history of doing this.
We have never
Lately, we have had. Look at our recent record in December. Look at our recent record in the playoffs. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We have never been this embarrassing.
No.
Never. The standard has gone so low, it's despicable. As a Steelers fan,
I don't know how Rooney is not livid. I don't know how Rooney is not pissed off. I don't know how Rooney is not getting in that offense and saying, listen, changes need to be made.
Because he doesn't care enough.
Obviously, he doesn't.
He admitted it by saying, we're not going to make changes. He's okay with what the coaching and what the team is giving him. He's okay with his pocket being lined. And even what his brother said on 93.7 The Fan. Jim Rooney. He pretty much said, yeah, they're fine with where they're at. He's fine with the Steelers just being good enough to keep things interesting, which is what's going to keep the fans coming.
Yeah. And listen, Tomlin's a problem. There's no doubt about that. Tomlin is a problem. I think his mindset and his message is just stale, and we just need to change the scenery. But this pressure alone, we're not even done talking about, what else he said.
No.
But just this alone, this goes to show that Art Rooney is without a doubt the biggest problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, because if the owner isn't going to do anything about it, then
the head coach sure as hell ain't doing anything because his job's safe. Because he has way too much, like Rooney has too much trust in Tomlin for him to not be able to do anything.
Dude,
and Tomlin, with that, is going to take advantage of that. Why should Tomlin be fearing for his life? Why should he be fearing for his job?
Why should anybody be fearing for their job?
No one's been relieved of their duties.
No
Pat
one.
Meyer's still here.
No one.
Like, what the hell, man? Terrell Austin's still here.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith's still here. After ending in disappointing fashion, yet there's been no changes. We still have 23 coaches on this staff.
Art Rooney II and Mike Tomlin are truly made for each other. It's embarrassing, man. And listen, this is to no surprise to nobody. It's just the fact that he pretty much doubled down on what Tomlin said, and he pretty much confirmed what all of us were already feeling, that he actually said everything that we already knew was coming. The fact that he said it just goes to prove that he's delusional, and we are absolutely screwed. We are going to be stuck in mediocrity forever. We are stuck, man. We're not moving.
Dude, we're so screwed, a screwdriver can't get us out.
No.
We're just going to remain where we have been for a decade going on, basically. And the Steelers, man, they have not moved the needle. They have not progressed in any fashion.
It just frustrates me when the owner of this team sees what happens and has seen what's happened to his team since his daddy died. Rest in peace, Dan. And he's doing nothing about it.
No.
Like, it's not shocking, but the fact that it's coming from himself, from the guy, it pisses me off as a fan, man. And it gives me absolutely zero hope for the future of this team. Zero. Even after the Tomlin era, whenever that finally is over.
Yeah, whenever that, like, do we have any faith in Art Rooney to get the right coach to come in here?
I don't think he can.
To change his philosophy, to change his winning formula and whatnot. You know what I'm saying?
Or just his football mindset. I don't trust the owner. I don't.
Because I don't want to end up becoming like the Commanders where they were chanting for their previous owner, to sell the team. I don't want to go down that path. I don't.
Well, you already see a lot of people already saying it. I'll tell you right now, when he said what he said about the coaching, my first thought was, man, just sell the team. He's not going to.
I don't want to go down that path, but if we're basically starting to get down that path, then Lord have mercy.
I can't envision the Steelers ever being led by someone not named Rooney. So if anything, drop it down. To who? I don't know. Maybe it's Art Jr., the vice president. Maybe it's Dan Rooney Jr. I don't know. When that's going to be? Probably years. Maybe he goes when Tomlin goes. We can all hope. But
2027 can't get here soon enough.
Pretty much. But even after that, I mean, it's all a mystery. But, I mean, with this guy running the ship, it's unfortunate, man. It really is. But continuing on, he mentioned the quarterback situation because
that he did.
He is hell-bent on getting a quarterback, and clearly the Steelers are in quarterback purgatory. We do not know who is going to be the starting quarterback come week 1 of the 2025 season. We literally only have one quarterback signed for next year. That is currently Skylar Thompson. That's it. Fields, Wilson are free agents. Could they go through the draft and grab somebody? I'm anticipating it. I would hope it's not soon. I would hope it's not early. I hope they don't reach on somebody because we've been there, done that. In fact, this quarterback draft class is almost identical to the 2022 draft class, which is going down as the worst quarterback draft class probably ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Yeah, it was bad. Really bad.
It's so bad that the best quarterback to come out of that draft class was the last pick of the entire draft.
Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah.
And they might draft a quarterback again. They only got 2 guys that are going to go top 3, most likely. And everyone else is a massive drop-off from those 2. And they might go and draft somebody. I don't know if they're going to draft someone to be the future. I don't know if they're going to draft someone to be a backup. All I know is I wouldn't take quarterback so early. But that's for the draft to be decided. But before we get to the draft, it's all regarding to Fields and Wilson, because that is who Art Rooney is hell-bent on bringing back, either one or two. He said bringing back two is very unlikely.
Yeah, in his exact quote, he said he wouldn't close the door on that as a possibility, but I'd say it's probably unlikely. I think that both see themselves as starters, and I don't know what they want. I don't know if they want to share the same job again next season. He also mentioned that he prefer a quarterback to be here for more than a one-year contract for whichever quarterback that they land, and that the team will obviously look into the NFL draft.
Again, going into the draft it's one of those situations where there's not many good quarterbacks in this draft class. In fact, it's not deep, and the drop-off is significant.
Yeah, outside of the first two, we know who they are. Yeah, it's a big what if. It's a big question mark.
There's a lot of projects. There are a couple guys in the third, fourth round you could take to be solid backups. You got some gunslingers, but everyone else is pretty rough when it comes to potentially being drafted to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because one, there's a lot of projects. And do you anticipate the Steelers to bring in somebody, and do you have any faith that that team, that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with their coaching staff, with how limited it is, that they can build a quarterback? Do you trust this coaching staff to build a certain talent? Do you expect that this quarterback, or that this coaching staff, can take a quarterback and build him up?
Not at all.
Do you think that they can take a project and make him what he needs to be? I don't.
Not after what happened last time.
No. And it's interesting that someone brought that up. I don't know who brought it up, but shout out to whoever. They brought it up about Kenny Pickett, because they brought up Kenny Pickett. He says, in regards to Kenny Pickett, he was disappointed that Kenny didn't work out to be the long-term future. And in regards to being asked, did they learn anything? Did you learn anything from drafting Kenny Pickett? Did you learn anything about that situation, being that you are literally back where you were 3 years ago, right? After Ben retired, here we are again trying to think of who the quarterback could be. In regards to him being asked, did he learn anything? He said, it's a disappointment that Kenny didn't work out to be our long-term quarterback, and I'm not sure there's a lot to be learned from that. We just have to look at the next opportunity. So you're telling me you didn't learn a single fucking thing about overdrafting Kenny Pickett? You're telling me you didn't learn anything from taking a quarterback in one of the worst quarterback classes in that entire in history, to the point that the next quarterback drafted after Kenny wasn't until the late third round, and the best quarterback to come out of that class was the last pick of the draft? You're telling me that your quarterback evaluation and the coaching building Kenny up
And the development was just pure garbage.
You're telling me you didn't learn a single thing about drafting Kenny Pickett? You didn't learn nothing? So why should we have any confidence or any faith that you're going to go and get the guy that's going to build this team, that's going to be the franchise for the next 10, 15, 20 years? That scares the shit out of me as a Steelers fan. You didn't learn nothing? I'm terrified of who we might draft a quarterback now. I'm terrified for whoever that quarterback's going to be, and that they got to learn from this organization.
And what was one of the worst experiments the Steelers have ever done in history at the quarterback position? The fact that he basically went out there and said, I didn't learn shit. We didn't learn shit.
Pretty
we
much.
learned nothing. The fact that you went out there and doubled down on that, it just goes to show it's like,
this guy's an idiot.
The future is screwed.
This guy is a bona fide idiot.
The future is screwed. Either they can't go out there and find a franchise guy in the draft, they don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks, they reached on Kenny Pickett, are they going to reach on another quarterback?
That's my fear.
After recent reports saying, they love Jalen Milroe, they have a high grade on him. Take that with a grain of salt, however you guys want. But I wouldn't be surprised by that. They reached on Kenny fucking Pickett.
Not just Milroe, but there's so many other quarterbacks coming into this draft class. But Milroe is being talked about a lot because he does fit Arthur Smith's scheme. He's kind of like a Justin Fields model, which I think would be redundant. Why would you bring back Fields and then draft a guy like Milroe, who is incredibly raw and is going to need years as being a project?
Yeah.
Because, one, his hand size is very small, smaller than Kenny Pickett's. And listen, he's an athlete. He reminds me a lot of Anthony Richardson. That's not exactly a good thing.
No, because Richardson is still a huge question mark for the Colts, and he's still raw. He's still having problems developing, and he's an inconsistent passer at that.
Very inconsistent.
That's the same thing with Jalen Milroe. I like his arm talent. I like his athleticism, but he's very raw. He's very inconsistent as a passer. If you have those problems and you come to the Steelers, based off recent history, that ain't going to work out, man.
No.
It's not going to work out.
And I think that's for any quarterback in this draft class. There's a few I like, but I mean, there's just like Kyle McCord or Jackson Dart who might go earlier than expected. They might raise their stocks throughout the entire draft process.
Maybe a Will Howard after his performance.
Will Howard. There's a Riley Leonard. I mean, there's a couple names, but none of them really blow me away. There's not really many that I would personally want to have the Steelers select. I wouldn't. I'd much rather them go out, bring back Fields, go out and get a vet quarterback, whoever that is, keep Skylar Thompson as the 3, and then in 2026, you go all in and go for a quarterback, because at least in that class, it's going to be super deep, and you're going to have a whole other year to just evaluate the quarterback position.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about that, but I'm not surprised at what he said. He wants to bring back Fields or Russ. He thinks both of them are capable, but with Pete Carroll going to the Raiders and all that, and apparently the Raiders might be bringing in Russell Wilson's former OC from Seattle, Darrell Bevell. I mean, all signs point to Russ going to Las Vegas. At this point, you might as well bring Beast Mode back at the same time and just call it a whole Seattle reunion.
Well, Beast Mode was there at Carroll's presser, so...
Listen, Russ can go all the way to Oakland. I don't care. Oakland. Las Vegas, you get it.
Yeah,
he can go all the way to the
Raiders.
Raiders. Yeah.
It's the Raiders, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
And then they can bring Fields back. As you guys know, that's our preference.
And Art Rooney said that after the coaching staff is fulfilled and fixed, if it gets fixed, the quarterback position is number one priority. It's going to be the big priority that they're going to be looking to try to take care of. If I'm the Steelers, I am looking at Justin Fields and giving him the keys to the kingdom.
Yes.
I'm giving him the opportunity. You did Rush. You've been there, done that. He's been figured out. It's not going to work. You're not going to bring back an aging veteran quarterback just to run it back for however many years. We don't want that. You're going to go with Justin Fields. You're going to see what he learned from Russ, what he learned on the bench, and just showcase if his potential can really come out completely. With Arthur Smith as the OC, with hopefully better targets. You still have Pickens if Pickens is still around. Bring in another receiver. They could draft another wide receiver.
And it just makes sense with how they want to run the football, with what they think their winning formula is for the Steelers, which is a good way to continue on here. Rooney has made it apparent previously that he wants the Steelers to get back to the old Steelers ways, which is stopping the run and running the football effectively. Listen, it's not entirely a bad philosophy. It's not a bad formula because it can be successful. Look at the Eagles. Barkley's having an incredible season. He's best running back in the league.
MVP.
Yeah, I agree. But you're also looking at, he has an incredible offensive line. He has competent coaching. He has a good quarterback. He has 2 incredible receivers on the perimeter. We don't have half of that.
No, the Steelers are trying to be the Eagles, but they're doing it in the worst possible way.
We don't have a home run runner. We don't have an O-line. We don't have an O-line coach. We ain't got no coaching. We ain't got no extra receivers. We don't have a quarterback yet. We don't have half of what the Eagles are doing or what other teams that run the ball, the Ravens, right?
Yeah, like the Steelers have been trying to figure this philosophy out of running the football effectively. They've been trying to get back at that for years now. They still are trying to figure out how to do it yet. Dude, Philly brought in Barkley for 1 year. His first year, they figured it out, and they're in the Super Bowl.
Ever since Haley left and Ben got older and they realized, this guy can't really throw the ball as much, right? And we're kind of limited there. They thought, okay, well, let's take pressure off of Ben. Let's run the football. How many years has this been now?
Since Randy Fichtner was promoted.
Since about 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Was when, because Ben 2018 was a solid year, 2019 was out, 2020 was his last really good year. But ever since then, they've been trying to do the same thing over and over and over. And obviously, you know where it's led to. But that's what he still believes is the winning formula. It's not a bad way to look at it. It's just, you got to do it effectively, and you're not. I don't know if they acknowledge that. You're not running the football successfully. You have so many errors of why that's being the case. And maybe that's what they try to do in the draft. That's what they try to do in free agency. That's what they try to do in the offseason. I'm all for running the football. But you got to build everything around. You got some of the pieces on the line. You got to put them where they need to be. You need an extra receiver. And listen, Art Rooney II has made it very clear. He said it numerous times about the need and the necessity of wide receiver. So I would anticipate the Steelers to go very heavy for wide receiver, whether that's in free agency and the draft. That's not or. You need to grab a receiver in free agency, and you need to double dip at receiver in the draft. I would bring in 3 or 4 new receivers this offseason. The wide receiver room needs completely revamped.
Yeah, it needs changed. It needs changed. We had depth guys. We had Van Jefferson as a number 2.
I know. We brought in Mike Williams to sit on the bench and do nothing. They need receivers, and he made that very well known. He also made it known that they need to stop the run. They need to stop the run against opposing offenses. So they're going to go heavy at receiver, and they're going to go heavy on defensive line. What that means for corner, I don't know. Maybe they just rely on Corey Trice. Maybe they'll go and sign another vet. I don't know. That's for discussions to come up in a couple weeks. But that's what he insinuated as well leading up to the offseason is they want to stop the run and they want to build receiver. So those ways is what the Steelers are going to have to do in the offseason to build.
Yeah.
So all in conclusion, not really a bunch of anything he said. It's just everything we expected going into the offseason, going into the 2025 season, is what we all anticipated. It's just the fact that he said it himself is awful to hear because this is the owner. This is the guy that has all of the say in the world for this team. This is the guy that makes all the changes, all of them. And he's double downing on everything Tomlin is doing. And that's a problem. That's a massive issue. And those two together, intertwined together, holding hands, la, 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 down the football field, are killing this football team. And they don't see it.
No, they don't see it. And it's only going to lead the Steelers to being where they have been for the past decade.
Yeah.
Just right in the middle because it's just enough. It works.
It's
good enough.
Nothing speaks excitement like, let's just run it back with everything we had last year.
Yeah. Nothing will change. Let's just run it back, run the football, and here we go, Steelers.
Pretty much. That's all he pretty much said. It was a whole lot of nothing, but we wanted to get this out because it's just interesting to hear from the owner. And here we are again, saying same old Steelers, right? No expectation going into the next season and many months from now, but especially for I would say a couple years, because it's just now that he's doubled down, he's agreed, and he pretty much regurgitated, re-vomited everything that Mike Tomlin said.
Yeah. I
don't know, man. It's not nothing else we can say. But here we go again. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mediocrity, here we come.
Pretty much, man.
Once again.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
How you guys feel, man? Do you guys want to add anything into the Art Rooney discussion? Art Rooney II discussion? Let us know down in the comments below. But pretty much nothing's going to change. The coaching's going to be intact. If they make any changes, they're going to replace certain coaches because their contract's running out. They want to continue to run the ball. They want to get receivers. They want to stop the run. They want to build the D-line. That's pretty much all he said. They want to bring back Fields. They want to bring back Russ. One of the two. They might go get a quarterback in the draft. That's all for the offseason, man. It's going to be a very interesting offseason, a very important one to see how they build this roster.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what Omar Khan and company can do in bringing in, various talent at certain positions that Steelers need to strike on in free agency and the draft. It's just that if they have made no changes to the coaching staff, they have no desire to make any changes or add coaches to the coaching staff. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results.
It's like it's like they're hoping that something just works.
They're throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah. They're hoping
come on, stick, damn it.
It's like they're hoping something magically just falls into place. It's not. So we're just again stuck with where we're at. We're not moving anywhere. We're not going further. We're not going farther down, even though it sure as hell feels like it. We're just stuck. We're not moving anywhere. That's all I can say about the Steelers, man. They're stuck in their ways. They're stuck in their old ways. And they're stuck in mediocrity. And we're not getting out of that mud anytime soon, bro. We are slowly sinking and sinking and sinking.
It's like it's quicksand.
Yeah.
We're only going deeper.
It's just a slow, sad watch every single year as a Steelers fan.
Play the Titanic violin.
Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so Art Rooney said a whole bunch of nothing. It's whatever. None of us are surprised by it. I just hate that this guy is just so delusional. As an owner, it sickens me as a Steelers fan. Nothing else to say, man. Let us know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Huge shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring with us on this video, man. Again, check them out. if you guys are looking for a new sports book for the Super Bowl or for the offseason or for any other sports heading into the offseason. NBA's here. The MLB will be around. Hockey's coming around. So any of you guys want to get any of that action in, BetUS has you covered with a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up at BetUS.com today, and take advantage of those casino bonuses while you're at it if you're interested in casino slots. So huge shout out BetUS for sponsoring this video. Huge shout out to you guys for watching. Let us know how you guys feel. Let us know you guys' engagement. How do you truly feel about Art Rooney and what he said in the future of this team, or the offseason, or the draft process, or anything? Let us know all the engagement down in the comments. We appreciate you guys as always. At the end of the day, despite everything, here we go, Steelers. See you in the next one.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!